Nobody saw it coming, especially not this Jim Jones, the veteran of the Dipset, and Harem himself. Famous, now detained and surrounded by flashing lights, caught dead in the heart of a full-blown narcotics, despite the fact that the sirens and police scanners were working. The investigation seemed unreal. There was a lot of talk, and the clip, which was grainy and raw, showed the rapper standing outside of a warehouse with little lighting in what the investigators are referring to as a confirmed narcotics trade. Within minutes, social media, "What the hell is going on in the streets of this city? Exploded, is this a sit-up? Was he framed?" Fans of hip-hop all over the world were frantically trying to make sense of the situation, while Harlem was ablaze with rumors and speculation. Nothing shocked the internet more than what happened next. Cameron Jim's lifelong, his look spoke it all, and his comrade, brother-in-arms, and co-founder of the Dipset organization went live. It was not just the silence that he was experiencing, the stiffness in his jaw and the tightness in his eyes. Because of the treachery, it was a heartbreaking experience, and the real drama began when he finally spoke. Commenced because to the fact that Cameron did not defend him, he did not dispute it, and he only said one thing. "Y'all don't know the half the internet froze," and... Now so many questions remain. Was this years in the making or the final split in a brotherhood formed on loyalty? The complete tale is worse than anyone imagined under a gloomy, overcast sky. The streets of Harlem felt colder as usual as news spread. Like wildfire, Jim Jones had been jailed. In connection with the drug trade, at first, most people refused to believe it. How could the Dipset legend, the man who had risen from the projects to global prominence, get caught up in something so sordid? Everyone expected the usual rumors, the petty online gossip. But this time there was no denying that shaky film leaked within minutes, and the silence from Jim's close circle only fanned the frenzy. The clip was raw and harsh. It began with a shaky handheld shot, presumably taken by a nearby pedestrian or security guard's phone. Jim stood beside a sleek black sub in the yard behind a disused warehouse, his shadow highlighted by a lone street lamp. The individual he was meeting wore a hooded hoodie face, concealed, but the exchange was evident. A little parcel went hand to hand. Bystanders heard a siren in the distance becoming louder. By the second, officers suddenly flooded the area, their badges glinting as they yelled commands. The cloaked man rushed away into the night, leaving Jim with no choice but to raise his hands. He gazed head-on into the camera, undisturbed, as if daring the world to condemn him. Within seconds, the internet did what it always does: exploded. Social media platforms lit up with reposts, reaction videos, and heated disputes. Is this real? Someone tweeted, "Did they frame him?" Another person wondered on Reddit. Hip-hop blogs spun theories. Was this the power play by rival crews, an inside job coordinated by the FI, or had Jim slipped back into old habits? The speculation was continuous and relentless. The man everyone wanted to hear from most was Cameron Jim's longtime collaborator and friend. But Cameron sat silent for hours. His absence of response just made the issue worse. Was he ashamed? Was he complicit? Or was he honestly in the dark? Supporters and critics alike clamored for a comment. Then late that night, Cameron went live on his private social network. People tuned in. Virtually soon, there was no fancy background, no hype. Beat, just Cameron sitting alone in a dimly lit chamber, poem in hand, paced unreadable. The only sound was the distant sirens reverberating through the streets, a reminder of the turmoil unfolding after what felt like an eternity. Cameron broke the stillness. "Y'all don't know the half," he stated, voice low, and heavy remarks flooded in. People begged him to say more, to defend his brother, to provide context. But Cameron simply stared at the camera, his eyes displaying a mix of anger, disappointment, and something more. Betrayal speculations began to spread regarding what he meant. Some people whispered that Cameron had tried to warn Jim months ago. Others believed that Cam had evidence of a broader conspiracy. One thing was, sure, viewers were hanging on every word, anxious for clarity. Amid a whirlwind of supposition, Meanwhile, local reporters staked out outside the precinct, hoping for a statement from detectives by dawn. It was reported that Jim faced charges for distribution and intent to supply an unidentified banned drug sources. Stated investigators had been following him for weeks. Surveillance imagery, phone data, and undercover operatives had allegedly sketched out a network that ran from New York to Atlanta. The chemicals involved were claimed to be high-end customized. Pills, not the conventional street narcotics rumors in law enforcement circles, indicated these pills could fetch thousands of dollars each pill, leading Jim Jones to facing some with derogatory tags, while others left flowers and handmade letters, appealing for his freedom. News vans lined the street. Their satellite dishes pointed skyward. Passers-by paused, recording the ruckus on their phones, adding yet more clip to the constantly expanding mound of stuff back online, an anonymous poster on. A popular forum claimed to have inside knowledge. Jim's been in grave danger for months. The article read, "Tour deals keep falling through, new album sales dropped. He got desperate, that's when he started transferring favors." The phrase transferring favors became an immediate meme. Some assumed it was code for brokering connections, selling illegal substances for cash. Pictures from years prior surfaced showing Jim at private gatherings with individuals now known to law enforcement. Each image was studied, every detail. Shortly then, a leaked text communication emerged between Jim and an unnamed person. The interaction was brief, but telling. "Did you deliver the contact?" asked. "All managed." Jim responded simply, "Stay silence." No context, no timing, merely the tantalizing indication that something clandestine had been fermenting. That single text sent shockwaves through internet. Some conspiracy theorists said the government was targeting high-profile rappers, framing them to provide an example. Doubters pointed to the passage as evidence of wrongdoing. The line between reality and fantasy blurred as rapidly as the footage had spread. Jules Santana, another Dipset associate, added to the suspense when he uploaded an old photo of himself with Jim and Cameron along by the message, "Loyalty cuts deep." Fans argued if it was a display of camaraderie or a covert criticism at Jim's perceived betrayal. The ambiguity further fueled the fire, with hashtags like Team Jules and Nears Wherecam surging across platforms amid the digital mayhem. A local nightclub staged a vigil for Jim. Guests gathered under flashing neon lights, some sporting Dipset t-shirts. Others wore hoodies with Jim's visage printed on them. The mood was part tribute, part protest. A mural artist stood at an easel, creating a depiction of Jim behind bars. The words, "Liberate my brother," scrolled in large letters beneath. In parallel, fans looked into Jim's recent songs, searching for hidden clues. Phrases that once sounded benign took on new meaning. "I've been going through..." Shadows now sounded like a confession. Every verse became fodder for analysis. Vloggers and podcasters argued the timing of events, charting out when the alleged deals would have occurred on the legal front. Those close to the probe indicated at a larger indictment approaching. Authorities were apparently constructing a case that expanded beyond Jim, perhaps naming co-conspirators and indicating a multi-state operation. Whisperers said subpoenas have been issued to cast members of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and other reality series, probing for financial data and conversations. The disclosure that Atlanta links were engaged further compounded the question: could Jim's arrest be part of a crackdown on a wider network? And through it all, Cameron's voice remained the wild card. After his initial appearance, he disappeared from social media. Enthusiasts worried if he was negotiating behind the scenes, or if his silence signified a divide between him and Jim. A few hours later, he posted a strange image of two broken chains on his story, with no caption. Supposition went into overdrive. Was he signaling a break from Jim, or hinting at future freedom? Inside sources indicated that Rashida, longtime friend, and himself, yet Cam was nowhere to be found. His phone rang straight to voicemail. His social accounts were silent. Rumor circulated that he checked himself into a private hideaway upstate. A so-called creative recharging. Sources felt he was lying low, gathering the information, or maybe questioning his own role on the law enforcement side. Sources confirmed an additional probe. according to an unnamed officer in the drugs division. The FI has been tracking a ring that employed celebrity cover to traffic designer pills known on the street as nightmares. They moved silently using encrypted messaging apps and leveraged industry events for distribution. Jim's name revealed only when undercover officers filmed him during many exchanges in New York and Atlanta. The video showed Jim giving off the item at the warehouse was just the beginning. Detectives uncovered security footage of him entering a hotel suite in Atlanta, with 2 men subsequently arrested on narcotics charges. Phone records placed him there at precisely 2:17 a.m. The lead agent informed media that this is not a celebrity witch hunt. We have solid leads to imply involvement at higher levels back in Harlem. Rashida received a late-night call that shook her awake. It was Rashida's cousin channel who worked. In radio promotions, they're calling for you on every station. They want your comment. They want to know what you saw. Rashida massaged her eyes. Voice thick. I'm not ready. Jim's like a brother to me. Pam's like family. I can't just out them like those people. Previously Done channel replied that second video. It's on every morning show. They're claiming he knew about it, that you're covering up for him. Rashida slammed the phone down, pulse thumping. She turned on the morning news and saw the headlines dive. Set drama. Cameron's nobility questioned after rapper's arrest on TV. A banner showed the arrest photo of Jim chained and scowling next to it. A granny still of Cam leaning in, speaking to Jim, divided between loyalty and self-preservation. Rashida debated her. Next move, stay silent and risk being complicit, or speak up and risk alienating 2 of her closest friends. She called men's expecting for advice. His tone was quiet, measured. Rashi listened. He said, voice steady. Yet Rashida sensed the strain. This is larger than any of us. We've got to safeguard the family. But we also need to respect the truth. If Cam's in that video, he owes an explanation. So, what do every moment conspiracy theorists on Reddit put together timeframes from concert schedules, hotel check-ins, and interview dates. One popular post stated that Jim and Cam had utilized industry displays as cover for meetups with the trafficking ring. Another alleged a cryptic phrase in a current Jim Jones tune, I move silent through the night, was an admission of guilt on Twitter. One user at Streetine commented, if Cam's loyalty was true, he'd stand up for Jim. This silence speaks volumes. Another user fired back. He's not going to throw his brother under the bus waiting for the truth inside one of the city's top studios. Dave Swift was arranging his morning show. He lined up audio snippets Jim's arrest announcement, Cam's You'll Don't. Know the half-live Rashida's mournful statement, and select police press conference highlights Hepland to set them against each other, asking callers to choose a side. All I know, he informed his engineer, is the ratings. They are going to rise from the corners of the internet to the halls of justice. The saga was speeding. Part 2 ends. While Rashida prepared to go into the forefront with her own account of events, juggling the weight of family, relationship, and reputation against the press's hungry glare, what she says next could change everything again. Hasha went onto the impromptu stage, put up outside the precinct, brushing her forehead with shaky fingers before confronting the flashing lighting and anxious expressions. A group of reporters, jostle for position, microphones surged forward like greedy animals. She cleared her throat, voice wavering. I have been asked if I knew about any of this. The answer is known. Not until I saw it with my own eyes. Jen Jones told me he was working on new music. Nothing more. I trusted him. Like family murmurs is rippled through the audience. One videographer asked out, Are you covering for him? Rashida's eyes flickered with pain. I'm covering for the truth. If he's guilty, I'll be the first to say so later. That day, within a crowded conference room at Dipset Records, attorneys and advisors crowded over evidence packets on the table, laid images of the 2 released movies the security camera captured at the warehouse, the hotel suite footage from Atlanta, and printouts of the incriminating text across the table. Jim's main lawyer, Marissa Flores, leaned back and stroked her temples. We need to poke holes in the prosecution's timetable, she said. If we can show Jim Wassomewhere at important periods, the footage may be speculative. One investigator staring at phone alerts noticed They'll want to separate the cases. Atlanta deals, part from the warehouse meet. We need to verify these places are connected." The team nodded, but tension was palpable. One partner sneered, "We're fighting a public spectacle." The jury pool is the internet by evening. Cameron had returned. He released a brief audio clip on his verified account. "I've always stood by my family. I'm gathering facts, PLs, be patient." It was barely 30 seconds. Yet, it triggered renewed debate. Supporters divided into two factions: those who saw Cam's quiet as unity, and those who viewed it as complicity. Hashtags jumped from Dagar Cam for clarity and Cam for Jones. In the meantime, Mens remained at home browsing through the chaos. He phoned Rashida. She answered, voice weary. "They're tearing me apart," she admitted. "I'm trying to stand for the truth, but they won't let me." Menses exhaled gently. "You did what you had to do, darling. Now let the lawyers handle the rest. Keep your head up." He stopped. "But watch your back. These folks play dirty as part of damage control." Dipset's brand manager arranged a meeting with Jim's core supporters, lifelong fans, street influencers, and local community leaders. The gathering took place in a storefront chapel-turned-event space on 125th Street. Posters of Dipset records hung above a modest stage held a single chair, awaited Jim. But no one was sure if he would emerge. Volunteers provided out bottled water and flyers with support if you believe in redemption stamped in bold letters after an hour of intense debate. A guest speaker, a revered community leader, took the mic. "We all know that mistakes happen, but we also know that redemption is real. Let's unite around someone who lifted this city once before. Let's demonstrate compassion." Applause broke out, but suspicion lingered in the air. A daring local blogger muttered into a live stream, "Mic applause doesn't pay legal fees elsewhere." A tabloid outlet said that watchers had observed Cameron in surveillance footage at the warehouse 2 nights before the arrest. Not just in response, Cameron's publicist made a statement. Mr. Cameron cooperated fully with law enforcement. Any claim different is incorrect. He values justice and will address these lies in due time. Despite the guarantee, internet discussion only grown louder, with fake accounts posting mashups of Cameron as a detective in trench jackets mimifying every misstep. Amid the public controversy, Jim's family convened. In a small apartment uptown, his mother, aunt, and 2 younger sisters gathered around a laptop streaming live coverage. Jim's mother, nostrils flaring, yelled, "They treat him like a criminal." His aunt sniffled. "He's always been worried I worry." One's sister, tears in her eyes, whispered, "I don't even want to watch anymore." They shut off the stream and sat in quiet, the weight of the scandal crushing their home. Meanwhile, back in the courtroom complex, prosecutors prepared their opening remarks for the preliminary hearing. Special Agent Robert Hill Cruz studied his case file. "We have sworn testimony